Welcome back. That's all I can say is welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Because honestly, that's exactly what it is. It's a good time coming on back. I want to welcome you guys back, and I want you guys to give me a warm welcome back too. No shade, because we did a little mid-season break. Whew. It was like I needed to do a mid-season break. Thank you for the hearts in the comments. Listen, what's up, everybody coming in? I needed to do a mid-season break. Not a Wendy Williams break, but just a quick mid-season break because, listen, I got shit going on too. I've been traveling. I went up to Boston and I walked All-American for $1,000 and won. So shout out to that. I know that with the modeling scene right now, a lot of people are, discussing the models going into ballroom and so forth and so forth. But, it does work for some if you know how to manage your time. So if you are doing it, listen, you can if you put your mind to it, But if you obligate yourself to things, make sure you go and you handle those things. You got to handle your business. Number one, you're going to be a model or anything in any type of profession, you got to handle your business. But I had a good time. I went out there, I walked for the 1,000, won my coin, and, really enjoyed myself. I also, in the process, I think since you guys seen me, I walked for the 3,000 too. I was last battle. It was a great moment. If you saw the pictures from that, I had it was African inspired because the category called for the All-Americans to bring it as inspired by one of the Disney theme parks. Okay, so I was Animal Kingdom. So I had a whole production that was all, built around that concept. So it's been cool. I've been working on that stuff. And then boom, after that, Harley reels me in for Indie Fashion Week. So boom, we're doing that in the process. So it's been a busy month, right? I want to say March was woo! It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. But it was great things going on. And then to put the cherry on top, again, you can do it if you put your mind to it. Then I debuted my new Kiki house on this past Saturday. So it's just I'm dropping everything. Yeah, it definitely was March Madness. So, and now bleeding into April, it's just been some great things. So it's been so many great things happening. And I just thought the best way, thank you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for the love. The best way to bring back underground stories is to bring it back talking about what's current, right? And the most current thing right now in our scene, in our culture, was Indie Fashion Week. God damn it. And when you think about that and where that all started, you think about the pioneering icon himself, Harley Morgan, right? And now, see, everybody knows that's my dad, right? He's been my dad for years. And I won't be biased, but I needed to have Harley's story. You know what I'm saying? As much as he jumps in and as much as he's a part of, my foundation and, what we do over here, it is important that we bring him up here, right? So Indie Fashion Week sparked this, and now here we are, on Underground Stories, bringing us back from our little mid-season break, and we're going to have the pioneering icon himself, the icon, the icon, okay, the guy that started it, right, and this is who we need to be hearing from, all right, this is who we need to be listening to, this is who we need to be leaning on, this is who we need to be going to, their shows and things, I really enjoyed myself at Indie Fashion Week. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Harley up here. I saw him come in. I saw him come in. Look, guys, I'm being cheap today. Oh, I went got Deer Park. I had a weekend retreat and we had a 12 pack and it was still some left, so I brought it home. Why not? So that's the water we'll be drinking today. And I want to bring up the legendary icon, the pioneering icon, the one that started it. And I like to say one with emphasis, okay? Like we're trying to cue him up. Harley, jump in the queue. The blueprint. This is where righteous ones, okay? Halo 01, okay? Harley, get in this queue. Make sure you're in this queue so we can get you in here. And now, see, Harley has been integral to my development. He's been an inspiration. He's been somebody that I can lean on. I mean, hell, I've even fell out with Harley, but Harley will get me right back together. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he will pull me right back together. Harley is truly a father. It's no shade. Harley is a true professional. I'm gonna give him his praise because listen, Harley, you deserve your flowers. It's no shade. To be the one, the blueprint, the starter, we need to get back to our roots. We need to get back into tapping into where it started. So without further ado, the icon himself. We accepting it.
Well, good evening.
Harley Morgan.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Praise the Lord.
I'm so grateful that you were able to join me, and also, might I say, at such short notice.
That's all good. You have my direct information, so you always be able to get me.
I appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen,
Thank you for having me.
Yes, listen. The show needs you. It is an underground story. A lot of people have heard bits and pieces of your story. People they know that you're the starter. They know a couple of things, but I want to give them a little bit more of an insight, if you will.
True that. Okay.
Okay.
We can do that, and I know how you like to.
I'm getting a little bit of a feedback. I'm getting a.
Amen. I know how you like to get. You like to be real raw and uncut. So I know where we at. I know where we at tonight.
Bad, but it's just like you go from developing in a college setting to then developing a business and a family, and then you expand with brands and things like Harley, can we start from absolutely the top, and then we're gonna definitely dive into Indie Fashion Week. But when it comes down to Bowie State, let's talk about it, because this is where everybody right now in this generation can relate. Let's start at Bowie State.
Okay. So, shout out to Bowie State, first of all. I started there in 2000. Righteous Ones was birthed in 2001. So it actually started a little bit before 2000. I caught the modeling bug in high school. And shout out to, my late brother, Will Ridley. I used to walk in his shows. And, just like everybody can attest, when you do your first show, you're hooked. It's an adrenaline that you can't kick. You just have to keep doing it. So I kept doing it from, 11th grade on. And when I got to college, the type of modeling that I was used to, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And, when I say what I was used to, it wasn't necessarily just a straight runway. It was an entertainment factor. It was some some choreography, it was some dance. It was just fun. It was very,
Right.
very creative. But they
More
didn't have
entertaining.
that. They didn't have that at Bowie State. They just had, like the traditional runway shows, and they were fabulous though. But it just wasn't what I was used to.
Hmm.
So I got my group of people. It wasn't a troupe yet. This is just the people I would hang with. Um, and I actually was a part of like the student government, so I had access to the funds and the resources and all that stuff. And the fall, my freshman year, we did a show the way that I knew how to do it.
Hmm.
And, that caught a lot of people's interest. And then my core people, again, we're not a troupe yet. We're just like to walk. We started, just hanging out, and we would just walk up and down the campus, and just doing things that every troupe does
Right.
currently.
Uh-huh.
Um, but
Start spread.
that summer, after my freshman year, I attempted to get signed by a modeling agency.
Okay.
I went. I don't remember the name of it. It was in DC. It was a small DC-based agency, and so I go up in there. I'm thinking, I can dress. I look good. I know how to walk. I'm thinking it's a
Uh-huh.
done deal. Um, and to my surprise, it was the complete opposite. That was the most humbling thing I've ever experienced in my life, because I
Wow.
literally didn't know anything when I thought I knew everything. So, I left there, feeling defeated, because I was like, I thought that's what I was about to be. And I
Right.
was like, nobody told us this, talking about where I came from. Nobody told us none of this stuff.
Okay.
So I was like, I need to be the person to tell my people, like, this is how we really are supposed to do it, in addition to what we want to do, but we got to know everything.
Mm.
And that fall is when ROE conceptualized. It was
Wow.
that core group of people became my first set of models, my team, and they were the ones that I would pour information into, and they were the ones that I would do shows with.
Right.
And it started right then and there. Everything started with that, and that is still to this day the thread that keeps it all together.
Okay. So it started with that group, that core group. I first and foremost, mind you, I didn't hear that story before, Harley. So I like
What?
that. I
Yeah,
like
I
that
don't.
you shared
Yeah, I don't tell that story that often, but that's the underground story, ironically.
underground. Okay, okay, nice. We're getting the beats, y'all. Okay, so you had that influence from Will, then you go into your own experience, and then boom, here's the inception of Righteous Ones. Okay, the beginning, the blueprint. So
Yeah.
what made you, start having like the competitions and things like that? What sparked that, and where did that come from?
So after we became a unit, and the troops are well, our troop we was inspired by the fraternities. So all the troops that followed us, that's where they got their chants from, and their hand symbols and all that stuff. Their alias names. We did all that stuff first because it was influenced by fraternities and sororities. So, us doing that, and just doing our thing on the campus. Eventually, one of the down south schools had reached out and sent information for a modeling competition.
Mm,
Now we didn't even know it was a such thing. But we took it. We wanted to do it. We went down there, and we looked different than everybody else. Um, we came in third place, our very first competition,
okay.
and from there, then that was like the next level of ROE, because we came back and was like, oh no, we got to bring that type of entertainment here. So
Okay.
we really, really stepped into the troop model. Then we became uniformed, and the choreography was the signature, but we still kept it with runway and fashion, and it was still always an educational component. Like, the people on my squad had to know the real deal, in addition to, what was going on, in our world.
Right,
So
right,
it was
right.
always that. And it just started catching like wildfire. Everybody wanted to be a part of ROE, like even more than the fraternities and sororities.
Mhm.
Um, People used to come to Bowie State, like enroll to be a part of ROE. It was like, it was a
Wow.
thing. It was the thing to do.
Wow.
And we brought the first competition up there, which is we invented the runway. I think it was in 2004.
Or we
Um,
have it way.
and that opened the door for so many people and so many things. That's literally when the troop phenomenon really, really started, because not only did people here see us, they got to see the other schools down south, but that's when our people in our area started to really, really catch the bug too.
Mm.
That's how all
So,
that started.
so I've heard, stories and things of how all the other troops started. Now, was it always amicable, or was it, what's the story besides that? Because it's like, you started and then others followed behind that. Like, what's
Yeah. So it's like religion. The first members of Models Envied were supposed to be members of ROE.
mm,
They used to come to the shows. They were supporters. Um, they wanted to be in. They was down. And the tryout that they all were going to come to was at Bowie State, and they missed the MARC train.
uh
And because, I mean, it probably was fate, because had they not, there would not have been a Models Envy. Um, they decided that they wanted to make a group similar to us. Um, and if I remember correctly, like, they asked Antoine to lead them. They didn't really know who was going to be the leader. They just know they wanted to do it.
mm,
Um, and again, like Antoine, Jessica, Tasha, all of them, they used to come to our shows. They would sit in our practices. So, they knew what it was, and they took what they saw, and they were the polar opposite of us. So
mm,
our models was like soft and mainstream, but had an entertainment flair. But they was hard and a different type of sexy, and it was like they
mm.
was doppelgangers almost.
Okay. It's
Um,
like they brought Diva out.
yeah,
Okay.
it was literally the splitting image of us.
It's
The
funny.
opposite, the
Funny that you
polar
say that,
opposite.
because when I made my departure from Righteous Ones, and I felt so comfortable just being a part of Envy, because it felt so similar.
Yeah, I mean they were. I mean, it is what it is. They were influenced by what they saw. That is what they saw. That is what they knew, and that's how Models Envy came to be. Um, Everything. I mean, yeah, they the aliases. The coming up with their own style of choreography and blending with runway and the chants and all of they saw that first, but they made it their own. Which
Absolutely.
when we saw it, we didn't know how to take it at first, but like I think it may have been the first time we competed against them. I
Hmm.
said to myself, I said, oh, this is going to be a thing, because I didn't see it being different in our area. I thought it was, well, I would assume everybody would look the same, but they came and did it a completely different way, and I
Mm.
respected that. So it was just like, and then there were two, and
Yep.
then Bang
Work.
left. Then Bang left Models Inc. Models Envy, and started Models Inc. And so he had influence from ROE and Models Envy, and he made something different with Models Inc.
Hmm.
And then so on with Exquisite. Like, everybody just kept like reshaping the wheel,
Correct.
and it wasn't copying. They were different, but the blueprint stayed the same. So it will always be respect there for that.
Right. And I love that fact. And it's important that we can always bring that fact back, and everybody's cool with that.
Yeah.
That's you know, and right, and
Yeah.
everybody naturally does respect that.
No.
Now,
And
when it comes down to how you said, okay, we are, now we have this collective group of, organizations, model troops. Um, what shaped the UAE? What was the key into the door for that?
so what shaped the UAE, for those that are listening and don't know what that is, that's the Urban Agency Entertainment. That was the collection of modeling troops in the area. So when we had so many, we, meaning me, Dallas, Terrence, at the time, we thought that it would make sense to have like this alliance where we all had an opportunity to come to the table, plan together so that we don't like schedule things on each other's dime, make sure that we're all supporting each other. It was meant to do that. Um,
Hmm.
we ROE started that movement also. Um, you know,
Okay.
to get everybody on one page, but it was cool while it lasted, but it failed because everybody was too prideful.
Mm.
Um,
You just
prideful
went right
meaning
into
that,
that.
huh?
They just went right into that.
Yeah, I mean, all the leaders from all the other groups, they just had a problem with me slash ROE being the leader of the
Leader.
charge.
Mm.
It's always a power struggle with them. It just always has been,
Mm.
and probably always will. But that's what the demise was. And in the last days of the UAE, there's actually a note still on Facebook that when I officially ended it, um,
Mm.
I was just like, it's too much. Like, I spend too much money for this community to get what I get from you all, and I don't want nothing to do with it anymore. That
Wow.
was basically what I said. I mean, everything from just going against the grain, going against the rules, I mean, not threatening, but accusing people of stealing models. Like, it was just too much when, what I'm saying, nobody was putting up any money. Nobody was doing anything but coming. It just wasn't, it wasn't worth it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's when it ended, and ROE just went on and did our own thing.
And so then you became ROE, the agency.
Yes.
Okay. So you see where we're going?
Yeah.
We get to it. Okay. So now you are ROE, the agency. What sparked that, and what was the initial direction? Because you are being a Black CEO going into fashion, into a world of other modeling agencies. Where were you?
So when I was clear that I wanted to go the agency route, that was really me going back to the root of why I started ROE,
Mm,
because I wanted the talent that I work with, I wanted them to be able to be competitive in all arenas, not just the world we have put ourselves in. And that world will consume you if you let it. You know what I
mm,
mean? It's fun. It's a great networking dynamic if it's led properly. Um, but pride will break up anything. So it took me away from what I really wanted to do, and that's what I wanted to do. So that's how I got back on track.
got
That
it.
that meant less, little to no modeling balls, and getting rid of competitions, and just focusing on shows that promoted who we had, and going elsewhere to get gigs, and do different projects for exposure and getting people booked. That
Hmm.
became the goal, and that stayed the goal.
I
So
remember when you rolled it out. It's a
yeah,
nice email, by the way.
it stayed the goal, and like some of the righteous ones were not pleased with that because they wanted to stay in that world.
Yeah.
Um, but it is what it is. You got to get with it, or you don't. It's one or the other.
So one of the projects that you then came to roll out with your agency, you've done photography, photo shoots, you've had models published over and over and over. Let's make sure that's a note. You've had models published over and over. Probably just past this week, you've just had someone published. So let's be honest. You're really doing agency moves. And then you pop out with indie fashion.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So Indie Fashion Week started in 2015.
Hmm.
Um, so the thought behind that was it's twofold. So the thought behind that, doing so many fashion shows and stuff. I've worked with so many designers and beauty professionals and models and boutique owners in the area that are really like everybody's fabulous. They do great. Um, but the common thread was everybody was like stuck.
Mm,
They were just comfortable with servicing their immediate circle or a little bit beyond their immediate circle. And I kind of believed in them too much. And I was like, y'all got to do more than this.
right.
And so the thought behind the Fashion Week was like, we need to make a platform where we like pour into them and make them feel like, they are superior, like they're superior in their craft, to kind of motivate them to do more. Similar
Right.
to a New York Fashion Week or whatever. But it's an underground version. It's not traditional runway. It's creative. It includes parties and workshops and think tanks and pop-up shops. Just a lot of ways that you can connect with people to really learn people's story, and then you choose to support them.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yes, that's like it's really an in-depth, hands-on experience.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and you've done this for 13 cycles.
yes. And
13 cycles.
and the part that a lot of people don't know, Indie Fashion Week actually it wasn't supposed to be a week.
Oh,
I at one point was a fan of DC Fashion Week, and I had reached out and was trying to partner and just build in an indie day.
everyone always thinks that you're in charge of it. DC Fashion Week.
No, absolutely not.
No, no. People always ask me like, "Is Harley a part of DC Fashion Week? Like, can I get a DC Fashion Week? Can you ask Harley for me?" I'll be like, "Harley is not a part of DC Fashion Week, y'all.
No.
Indie Fashion, so yes."
But I actually like inquired. I wanted to do a day during DC Fashion Week that we can like, you know, everything I just said, but do it in one day.
Right.
Um, and it was shot down in such a condescending way,
Mm.
that I decided to run a full week the same week as DC Fashion Week,
Ah.
the very first cycle. And I had this big massive press meeting where I invited all the fashion people I knew, and I told them what I was going to do, and they all was on board and was ready for it, and that's what empowered me to do it, and that's why I did it.
You've
And
been like the Black Martin Luther King. Well, of course he's already black, but our fashion Martin Luther King in DC.
yeah, I just we just deserve more, and it just literally blew up ever since then. It's two totally different worlds, even like audiences, two totally different groups of people.
Yeah.
Um, but our audiences, they're supportive, they're loyal, and you know they really come to support, and that's what we was trying to build from the beginning.
I love that. I love that. And you really did it because now here you are, Cycle 13 just passed, and you really lit it up this cycle. Like I
Oh well, thank you,
lived.
thank you very much.
I lived. You lit it up. Pops, you did your big one. For real.
I appreciate that, definitely appreciate that. And
Okay.
look, I ain't talking about the light skins are sitting. Yes, we
Uh,
are.
Thank you. Well,
Um,
Harley, tell them a couple of events that they missed because they definitely missed out. And if they don't come to Cycle 14 at this point, I listen. I think you're just hating.
I mean, so we
It was
opened
so
up
good.
with an amazing fashion show opener at St. Eve's, sold
Yes.
out audience, amazing designers. And when I talk about support, like one of the designers, the audience purchased his entire collection off the runway. He
His entire collection, y'all.
not ever has that happened in any show in DC ever. I know that
Ever,
for a fact.
ever.
Then we moved on to Model Mondays, you know, which is our you know that's our time off the clock for the industry. That was amazing. Sold out crowd there. We had
Mm.
a fashion meets art night where some visual artists came and painted on some garments.
Oh, it's amazing. So
Um,
beautiful.
Tuesday and Wednesday were virtual offerings. Um, you know, we spoke with a designer from Las Vegas that just, he's an emerging designer like our designers here. He just got his brand featured on Sheen, the
Hmm.
website. So he was talking about how to do that. We spoke with a woman
I'm
from
doing that.
Kansas City. She's the first Black certified style consultant in her city. We talked with
Wow.
her. We talked, you know, she talked us through that and how she did that. Um, we then we highlighted all of our beauty professionals. You know, just gave them a platform to shine and tell their story. They did amazing. Um, Thursday we went to Studio Muse. Everybody knows Trayvon Naeem, most creative person I've ever met.
So dope. It was so dope, Harley. Like y'all
We
just,
did.
woo, y'all did y'all big one up in
It
there.
was lit. You know,
That
because
was so dope.
he has things going on that need support, and you know we just brought our audience there so they could learn about him.
Hmm.
Friday we had a party which was lit, hosted by Mr. GPS, my other son. He's in the comments.
GPS in the
Um,
building.
and then we closed the week with our streetwear finale. You know, merged with our music artists that blow it up in the DMV. It was amazing. Everything was amazing.
By the way, I just want to say I love how real our interviews are over here on Underground Stories, background sounds and all.
I know.
Okay,
Y'all
this is
forgive me.
real
Y'all
life.
forgive that. You know, I'm out here on the balcony. I'm out here in Wakanda, y'all. Y'all see that?
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. But no, it was dope. It
I
was really
love it.
good. All sold out audiences. Let me make sure everybody knows that it was definitely a
Okay,
vibe. It was lit.
okay.
It was amazing.
Even though if you missed it, it's okay. The house was packed. It's all right. You would have pushed us over capacity.
Right.
Right. But listen, what I heard from that is that, I mean, it was so much inspiration in there. It's nothing but support. And then also, the most important thing is that it was love because you really put a lot of love into that. You had to really love your culture, your people, and what you're doing to be doing this. Okay. Because I'm sure it could be hectic, you know what I'm saying, producing all of these things and then to go through an entire week of events. Listen, I even had to scale mine down to 3 days. Like I could
Yeah.
do, like
No,
I was over that.
it's a heavy lift, but I feel like our people deserve it. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be done. It will be
yeah.
done.
And you did that. You absolutely did that. Now I want to rail us back a little bit because I do have the pioneering icon on here, so I would be remiss if I did not speak on status. Can we discuss status? I mean, it could be real short, real quick, but I know the people will want to hear from you. One, how you obtain status, because I know this is what they think about. And two, what really are these statuses? Okay, please.
Okay.
The Pioneer. And where
Um,
the hell did it come from? Why did y'all do it for the models? Why did y'all
so
do it?
Dallas introduced that for us. Dallas was one of the first people to enter the ballroom scene. And obviously that is from ballroom culture. But when she introduced like the ballroom categories and us doing singles competition in our area, in our scene, she also brought the statuses over as a way to like award the models for doing what they do. It was usually only given at award ceremonies.
I do
So
remember.
you would have the whole year to do your thing, in the fashion shows, the competitions, the balls, and the board, which was icons, primarily ROE icons, would assess what you did that year and give you a status that you could move up the ranks in.
Hmm.
Those statuses are statements, um, and obviously I don't know how they work in the ballroom. So if anybody's in that, don't compare this to that. It's not the same. Um, but statements are basically like they're the breakout people. At first nobody knew you, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Who's that girl?" or "Who's that guy?"
Hmm.
If that has happened for anybody consistently, you are a statement, or you will be a statement. Um, from there, you keep being consistent. You become the star of your show, meaning your organization's show. People
Mm.
come to see you at those events. That makes you the superstar,
Right.
the superstar of your organization, your company, whatever. Um, Note, you cannot be a superstar if your company does not have shows. You can't. This is not. It's impossible. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Nobody's covered to see anybody.
Then from superstar, the next level would be legendary, and it takes time for that because someone that's legendary means that they left a mark so heavy that
Hmm.
droves of people behind them begin to do the same thing in their likeness. Um, that's a legend. It's an
That's
undeniable thing. It's an undeniable thing. It can't be disputed. Um, if it's disputed, like even for people with titles, you might not be a legend if it's disputed, and you should think about that.
you should think about that.
Um, and then the next progression from legend is icon, um, which means that you literally carved out space for people to do something that they enjoy, that they love, that they can profit or benefit from. You did something unprecedented, and it was sustainable. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Surely people, surely people they've made groups, um, but they don't last. So people say they should be iconic because they started a group. No, you have to start a group, sustain a group, grow a group, and show and prove that you can lead a group. The people in the group have to progress in multiple ways before you can say that you've done something iconic.
Mm.
That's an icon.
Mm.
Um,
I know that's
then
like,
pioneering, you know, there can only be one pioneering icon of one thing. There are not several pioneering icons.
it's no
Um,
more pioneers. It's only one.
everybody everybody that you all know as icons are not pioneering icons because they did not initiate something that that other people continue to replicate. that is what that's the definition of pioneer. So I'll leave that there. That's there.
Boom.
I know you'll put that in your story, so that's that. Um,
We'll put that in there.
but those are the statuses. That's that.
I I thought that was perfect, Harley. I giggled on Legend just a little bit because Legend was a good time. I think you had a good time over there. But other than that, I thought that was perfect, yo. I thought that was perfect, and I had to get you to say it because I mean you are the pioneering icon. So who better to break it down so everybody can truly understand from here on out? That's what it is, okay? And if you are seeking a status, those are the ballparks that you want to be in.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's it. That's all it is. There's no other way to describe it. Can't nobody bend that. Can't nobody change it. That's just what it is.
All right. So with 13 cycles behind you, you have 20 years of righteous ones. 20 years of righteous ones. That's developing people, inside and out from just not even just modeling, but personally, you know, you really had look and like in the comments, you really set the standard. I mean, what's next?
You said what's next?
That's what's next. I mean, I know a little bit of something, but throw them a
Well, I
little.
mean, what's next is I got a dynamic group of people. What's next is we just on money strategy.
Yes.
That's one. We planting seeds for ROEs in other cities.
Mm,
Um, and I'm not talking about like down the street cities, like not down the street, but we talking down south and the Midwest, West Coast, all that type of stuff.
mm-hmm.
Everywhere there's an ROE, there will be an indie fashion week. So that's what it is. You know,
Economics.
yep. Expansion, exposure, economics, all day.
Ooh. See, when you have a leader that has a vision, you get places. That's it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get somewhere
You're
always.
going to get somewhere. And I just have to thank you, Harley, because you have done that. You've gotten us all somewhere, you know. And I say it all the time. You have been a real source of motivation and inspiration for me in my journey. Like you are latched on, like you are eyelash. Like it's not going away. You're a part of it. Like a whole eyebrow. I'm gonna give you an eyebrow. Like you on there. You on there. You're on the story for real. Because you really you put your big one like down when it came down to ROE. You really have cultivated a culture in DC, and like you said, it can continue to be replicated. It can continue to go. It can expand.
Yeah,
So
and I'm
I
I'm
just want to
I'm
thank you.
I'm gracious for that. I love the fact that there's still entities being made in the likeness of. I would never have a problem with that.
Hmm.
As long as people are staying true to what the model is.
Right. I love that. I love that. Now, did you have it? Like, do you have any thoughts on like where we are right now? Would you like to reel it in, or would you like to just kind of just let it flow? With the scene now.
I mean, I have several thoughts. I love the new generation.
Hmm.
I
They
enjoy
so excited.
I enjoy them a lot. They they do their thing. They do, and as a unit, when you put them all together, they do the best they can with what they have. I'll say
Hmm.
I'll say that. Could it be better? Yes. Could it be worse? Yes. You know,
Hmm.
They do the best they can with what they have. But individually, they do what they got to do. They do their thing.
Understood.
Um, when you say reel it in, what are you speaking of? Like power, like
No,
control, or
would you like to be asked more to, you know, participate in other people's things? And, you know, like back in the day, I don't know how deep you were with the UAE actually, you know, how far your hands were on anything. I know that you really just made sure that a lot of things were organized for the scene, but, you know, would you see yourself doing something like that again?
well, I mean, with the UAE, I was like, I was all the way in that, like I was all the way in ROE. Like it almost wasn't fair to my group because of what I was doing for everybody else.
Hmm.
Not only did I help write, we had a whole constitution of how everybody should act accordingly.
Wow.
Um, all of the events that everybody gathered for, I funded them. When people fought and destroyed stuff and was disrespectful at events, I'm the one that had to meet with city leadership on our behalf. So
Wow.
I was all the way in. I was all the way in. And I'll never ever do that again.
Whew.
I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be in charge of what's going on. It's gotten too far away from what it's supposed to be for me to want to get in and do something else with it. I'm not interested. Um, you know, I have models now that want to be a part of it, and that's fine. But outside of us being a part and me being the icon that I am and inserting my opinion and authority when necessary, that's all I plan to do.
Understood. Understood. Well, I appreciate what you do because you did allow ROE to kind of put that toe back out there and they are enjoying themselves out there. So thank you for that because the babies definitely are enjoying the angels and the aviators are definitely enjoying that. Okay. And people like to see us out. You know, it's no shade. The people do. They like to see the legendary ROE out.
They
Okay.
do. They definitely do. I mean, and we like to see them. You know, everybody's enjoying meeting the people, and you know, but you know, we'll be there in spurts. We'll be there to a degree,
Right.
but you're not going to get us all in. Not with the way it's structured now. No.
Understood. Understood.
Mm-mm.
Well, listen, Harley, I had you for almost an hour, boss. Like, I can't believe I mean, you know, we can talk for hours, but you know, I was like, you know, we can't do it for the show. But I gotta wrap it because I feel like you did what needed to be done.
But look, I appreciate it. You know, it. We could do a part 2, 3, 4. It's a whole lot of stuff
Okay.
to talk about.
I'm looking forward to the documentary. That's when we really can get into the nitty gritty. We can really start doing the interview.
Absolutely. Y'all
Really
stay
get into
tuned for that because that's going to really, really be doing the thing right there.
Okay. That's when we're really going to get into it. Okay. But I felt like you hit everything that I needed you to hit on. I really think you did everything we needed. Okay. So thank you for giving us your underground story. Harley Morgan, the icon, the blueprint, the first one to do it, the chosen one. God damn it.
Well, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. My
So if
son,
you're
thank
ready,
you
make
so
sure y'all go
much.
follow.
I appreciate the opportunity. And as always, whenever I'm needed from you, you let me know.
I love that. And for all my kids in the comments, that's your granddaddy.
And I don't have no gray hair, y'all. I don't have
Nah,
no gray hair.
our family looks great. All right, Pops, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Wow. So here we are. You know, we came back from a mid-season break to have the iconic Harley Morgan on our show. What a great comeback. And I'm glad everybody was here to witness it. You know, if you're watching this after the live, I just want to say thank you again for watching. And everybody on the live, thank you, thank you, thank you for attending and watching the live. I mean, to learn from him for all these years has been a great impact. And, you know, if you have the opportunity and you are interested in modeling, come into Righteous Ones is actually a really good idea, you know. But hey, who am I to steer you in that direction? It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. See you guys on the next Underground Stories.